I don't seek the fame and the glory and like even coming here for me is like, I'm very private in my life. I don't really talk about I do a lot of shit. Like I wear a lot of fucking hats, bro. Not just in life, but like in life. I was raised by a very strong man, my dad. One of my students asked me that the other day. I'm not trying to get emotional, but like, I've never been asked that. Hey, coach, what made you do this? Like, what really made you live this life? I'm like, let me think. My dad. Shit, like I can remember literally I'm 42 years old, and again, my name is PJ Montano. I'm 42 years old. I've been a practitioner of martial arts since martial science is what I call it, not martial arts. I call it martial science. Because I started with karate. Which was Ed Parker, Kempo Karate. I'm actually a 3rd degree black belt in that under Bob White and Bob White and David Brock were my instructors out of Costa Mesa. And he just recently passed away, sadly. Like God rest his soul. He got me. He is that Kempo is what started me on that. The martial way. That's what we call it in Kempo, the martial way. And I'm also Native American. So we have something I'm a White Mountain Apache from the Pima Nation. And I'm Purepecha from my Mexican American side. Okay. So I'm very native. I do danza. I do all that kind of stuff. Like my family is very deep in our roots. So we have a medicine wheel in the Native American community. When you see like the colors, right? Everyone sees that circle with the different colors. Each one represents a path. It all represents a path of life, whatever you choose. The red path, that's a warrior. So the red path is it's not for everyone, because the way we see warriors, how I see warriors, is different than how the world sees warriors. Warriors are honorable, courageous. That is what we do. But the world tends to have this view of the warrior as someone who always fights. We're protectors first. And it's the strongest should always be looking over the weak. So there's a quote that I try to live by with my practice or coaching the strongest warrior in one hand can grip the hilt of the mightiest sword, yet in the other caress the hand of the smallest child. That's the balance. So it's kind of like trying to find that balance, because life is a wrestling match. Life is a grappling match. It's going to beat you up. It's going to hold you down. You're going to have to fight back. And you can't quit. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is sometimes. And I think that with the way I was brought up to live this martial science, it's not just a lifestyle for me. It's a way of life. It's different. It's deeper.
Can you explain the difference?
The difference in that aspect of how I would tell you, what's a lifestyle? Lifestyle is like you wake up, you get ready, you run your life, you do your thing, you make time for practice, you do your thing, you train, you make it a part of your routine. You make it part of your routine. That's your lifestyle, right? That's what you do. It's the difference when you make it a way of life. Like a way of life for me, in my aspect, is I'll give you what I do. I'm up 4 a.m. every single day to train before anybody else is up, because it's a way of life. It's discipline. Jocko loves to say, discipline equals freedom, right? So it's about making it more than a routine. It's about making it something that you do every single day, not just here, not just there, not just, once or twice a week. No, every single day you should be doing something to improve yourself. 1% every single day, 0.5%, whatever you can muster, 0.1%, whatever the fuck it is. At least it's that much more per day. Maybe it's something you just drilled. Hey, shit, well, at least you drilled. At least you did something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by way of life. I wake up, I do that. And I also I work in surgery. I'm a surgical FA for oncology surgery. So
I saw that.
I do cancer surgery. So I see real life shit, dude. I see the stuff you don't want to see in life. I hold the things that you don't want to, you just don't want to, not everyone can do what I do in that aspect, especially in that aspect. Like, and jiu-jitsu's my therapy. It really is. Like, some of the stuff I see, the conversations that I have to have with families and people, hey, we didn't get the cancer, we got to do these treatments. Hey, like, and then you fucking know that you can't do anything for this person. Yet you're trying to give hope. You're trying to let them know, hey, we're gonna try. We're gonna fucking try. Sometimes it doesn't work. And I think it's that whole memento mori. That's why I have a little tattoo right here. That's my reminder, because I see the worst. I see real life. and it makes me laugh because it makes me happy, because I'm also a servant of Christ. Like, I'm a very strong in my faith. And he's given me this duality to be a paladin. I consider myself a paladin because I can go to dark places and bring healing. I can go through the dark and bring light. Not everyone can do that. And still be able to, run a jiu-jitsu, like, I run a jiu-jitsu school. I coach my daughter's travel soccer team. I do surgery all day long. And I work with Subversiv, as a referee. I also work with PGF as a referee, High Rollers as a referee, ADCC, Fight to Win. I want to be the best referee in the fucking world. And I consider myself one, to be honest, because I've learned from some of the best people, dude. This last PGF that I went with, it started with this guy, with my great friend Darren Branch in Las Vegas. He gave me the opportunity to really start reffing, and that was High Rollers. And it just started. I just grew this passion for, once I started teaching, it was like, okay, well, I need to teach this stuff to my students, right? I got to teach this art of violence to my school. What better way to study than to be right in the middle of the fray, learning every movement at full speed, with full depth, with full ferocity, and with everything they have. So I can see what these transitions, what these techniques, what these movements really are. So when you're playing around in practice and you're half-assing it, and I'm like, that never worked. You want to know why? Because I saw this person do it. I saw that person do it. You know what I mean? Like, I watched Ryan Aiken do it this way, or I watched Elijah Carlton, do it this way. Or, I've seen these people do things that I'm like, holy shit, how does the body do that? You know what I mean? Like, because that's not my style. I'm old school. I'm a catch wrestler.
Right.
I have a true lineage from Carl Gotch all the way down to Eric Paulson to me. And Eric Paulson, I've known Eric Paulson for 22 years, man. Like, I when I think about really how blessed I am to learn from a legend like him.
Yeah, his name's pretty heavy.
Bro, like, not even. So let me tell you a story about how I got stuck with Eric Paulson. Oh my God. So here I am. Okay, so here's my wrestling background, right? I've been wrestling since I was 6 years old.
Yeah, before we go any further, like, I feel like we kind of like.
Oh yeah, I go all over. I go all over the place.
Totally fine. I appreciate it, man. Like, you, when I see people like have such strong emotions and like, feel the way that you feel about like your life and everything that's going on, and your history and whatnot, like, it's so cool to, to like see that come out of somebody. You know what I mean?
And see,
it makes me feel good for the way that I feel sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No, you.
But what I wanted to say was just like, because I did want to ask you, how you started everything and everything.
Yeah.
You kind of just jumped right into it, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But But yeah, I mean, I wanted to kind of talk about too, like you were mentioning a lot of like balance and life.
Oh, yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And it kind of, I feel like it relates to, the Warrior's Garden.
Yeah. So that's okay. Yeah. So that's where that balance comes in. Okay. So like balance, right? Everyone seeks balance. Some can find it on a treadmill. Some can find it lifting weights. Some can find it running on the street, rowing a boat, paddle, whatever your outlet is. Some of us need a deeper, darker place. Some of us need to go to dark places to tap whatever that trauma is. And that's what Warriors Garden Jiu-Jitsu is. It's a haven. It's a sanctuary. I'm trying to create a place where everybody can come. There's no politics. There's no affiliation. When you're in that room together, like, I don't care what clan you're from, you're part of our tribe when you're at our mats. And that's what I was taught by Eric Paulson. You train with everybody, because everyone's journey is their own journey. It's not mine. It's not my place to tell you can only go here or you can. Why? Like, do I run your life? No. Am I your coach? I'm honored to be your coach. And I'm blessed to be your coach. And that's how I think a lot of instructors should be approaching how they treat their schools and their students. We might mess around, joke around. Everyone talks shit in jiu-jitsu, tease someone a little bit, But it's usually because it's out of love. It's like, I know you could be better, so quit fucking around. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. Because you get a lot of these young kids, young 20-year-olds that are, maybe they didn't come from maybe they didn't have a dad. Maybe they didn't have that scrappy structure. Maybe they didn't grow up fighters, or maybe they had a traumatic experience. Maybe, they needed to learn how to fight. Maybe they need to learn how to fight now. Maybe they're having issues with that, or maybe it's a veteran that's coming home from war and needs a place. Maybe it's a police officer that needs to learn how to protect himself in his community. Maybe it's a fireman who needs to get out something that he's dealing with from running in buildings. Maybe it's an EMT guy who needs to get out something from pumping someone's chest that he just saved, or a surgeon or a doctor that just saved someone's life. There's so many walks of life that come through those doors, and we all leave it all at the mat. Just leave it all there. When you're here, you're a human being. When you're Warriors Garden Jiu-Jitsu, you're a human being. Your title doesn't carry any weight. Even me. Like, I'll tell my students, I'm not above mopping the mats. Like there ain't nothing above that. There's no pride here. It's all about humility. And that's what I think a lot of people, when they start their programs, it's about, oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. Look at what I'm building. Look, like, kingdoms are built together. And the greatest kings serve first. And that's what I'm trying to create. I started when I was at PGF, because I was watching fighters that have their own spot, and I was like, dude, like, I could do this shit. Like, I know a lot more than these motherfuckers do as far as technique. And, again, I've been studying jiu-jitsu for 22 years. Right. I've been studying wrestling since I was 6 years old. I'm 42 now. I literally only lost 2 years of my life for wrestling because I blew out my ACL in wrestling, and I blew out my ACL here for jiu-jitsu. So they got fixed, and those are literally, so out of 42 years of life, when I started at 6 years old, only 2 years I wasn't grappling because I was rehabbing. And so, like, I've been literally, like, I'm a product of what you would consider a lifelong grappler. Like, that is what I do, and that is what I am. Like, I am fucking grappling. I do every fucking style of it. Judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, catch wrestling, Greco, freestyle, folk style. You fucking name it, I can fucking show you something from it.
That's awesome.
Or a chain, or a, chain to chain to chain to chain to chain. I've learned, and that's the thing at Warriors Garden Jiu-Jitsu that I've done, is I've taken all of these hybrid systems, and I've kind of been just merging all of these different techniques from grappling together. So it looks like a basic movement looks like a John Wick movie, because it's like, the hell is that? Well, dude, that's just a basic, Sotogari to a drop to a knee on belly to step over armbar.
Yeah.
But if I do it all together, it looks like, what the hell was that? Yeah, it's like John Wick. Well, again, going to those type of techniques, when you really break that down, like, good fighters, I've seen good fighters do stuff, that I marvel at. And again, that's why I got into teaching now, because I saw this and was like, oh, wow, okay, well, I need to start building this program, now that I've started, slowly by myself. And I ran into Mike John, and Mike John's out of 10th Planet Orange. And so I saw him at PGF World, and I was like, hey, his gym's kind of close to mine, like right down the street.
Right.
Hey, like, I respect your system, so who's your guy? Who's your guy? And then he sent me Coach Luis. And then I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to check out Coach Luis. And now he's my 6 a.m. coach. So the thing about jiu-jitsu is you have to find, it's like Bruce Lee loves to say, right? Like it's like you have to be like water. You have to flow. Jiu-jitsu's like flowing with water and dancing with fire. That's the best way I could describe it. And to be able to dance with fire, you have to learn a certain system to how to dance with it. To flow with water, you have to learn a completely different system. And to mix both of them, and that becomes air. And that becomes freeform. That becomes formless. And that's what you're ultimately looking for, formlessness. But to mix them, you have to have multiple practices to do that. I'm trying to create a formless school by merging 3 of the best systems I know. And that is, again, my system from CSW at Eric Paulson and Higa Machado. The other one I have is, Mike John, 10th Planet, Coach Casey that goes up to Eddie Bravo, right? His lineage. And then you have Rich, who's my other coach that covers the nights that I can't cover. And he's Lucas Lite, Checkmat. So like, I have three schools that not only my kids, not kids, I was calling them kids because they're like 20, I call them kids because they're like 20, and they always laugh at me, what kid? Yeah, you're kid to me, okay? Like, I'm the oldest one, so I'm like 41 and I'm talking to these like 20-year-olds, like, hey, whatever kid, but we have 3 outlets for our fighters to go to. So not only can you train with us, but you have 3 brother, sister schools that you can go to. If you didn't, hey, what time is it right now? Oh, I can't make this one. Oh, this one's close. I can go to La Habra. Oh, yeah, I train under Coach, Rich. Rich is my coach. Oh, okay, come on. Your Coach Rich is, kid, blah, 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 whatever, Then, oh, hey, man, I can't make it. I got to go. But, 10th Planet Orange is open. We'll go over here. Okay, boom, over there. Oh, hey, I'm under Coach Luis. Oh, yeah, no problem. You can go to Fullerton. Oh, Coach PJ is my coach. So our fighters have not just our school, but 3 of the best schools in the Orange County area.
Did you
access to it?
Did you kind of work that out with all those different schools to where your students are?
So yes, so I'm very traditional. So like I am that guy because that was just how I was martially raised through karate, through judo, through jiu-jitsu and wrestling. It's all about respect. It's all about honor, and that's my biggest thing is, I don't care how much money you give me. Like I'm the type of person, I don't care if you're a king or a peasant, I will talk to you and treat you the same exact way because we're all under one king, and that's God. That's how I see it. So when you really, how do I describe it? Can't put this in words right now. When you really break it down, the aspects of respect and humility should always be obtained first before you even speak or think the decision. Because if you're going to ask another instructor to pull someone from their school, you should have the respect of speaking to them first before you even ask the other person. Because first, he's interested, but even if he was interested and he was hired through like the UFC program, I would still personally find his instructor and say, hey, look, I know he's your kid or your student, like, respectfully, this is the program that I'm running. I love to have him aboard. I just want your blessing to know that, it's okay to have him here and have your style here, and that our students can also work with you if possible.
Right.
And that's my presentation. Just, just out of respect, since we're going to be mutual partners on this, and your students bringing a style here and my style here, I have no problem with meshing styles, because I totally believe in the aspect of training with everybody. That's what this is. It's a path for impeccability of perfection that you will never find or obtain. You'll never find it, because it's always changing. So you're never going to find an end. And I think that's what keeps people coming back. That's what's kept me going for 30 plus years in grappling.
I agree with that. There is no end. And I've described it as, just like a never ending puzzle.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a Rubik's Cube that gets reset every time you turn it black.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I didn't see that color. Oh, wait, where'd that color come from? It's just, and it's really what it is. And then it's like at my level where I'm at, second degree black belt and really moving around, like I'm playing now. Like I play a lot. I put myself in positions where I'm like, okay, I feel like my coaches, I used to work with Ben Jones. Ben Jones is a big catch wrestling guy out of Yorba Linda. And Ben is he's one of the few guys that when I'd go to practice and I knew Coach Ben was there, it was like, oh shit. All right. You're a good fighter. You're a good grappler. You know what you're doing. Okay, you know what you're doing. No, I didn't know what I was doing. Somebody else, it would be a problem, but you're okay. Kind of guy that would just go, okay, here you go. Like crucifix himself on the ground. Go ahead. And I'm like, what do you mean go ahead? Go ahead.
That's almost as intimidating in its own right.
Okay.
Somebody says, just do whatever you want,
So Coach Ben and Coach Paulson, like I said, for a good decade, just whooped my ass, and that was like back in the day. Like I've been around grappling since, I've been with Coach Paulson since his very first school here. So like I've watched pro fighters and rolled with professional fighters, Josh Barnett, Bob Ballou, Sobral, Satoru Ishii, Michael Bisping, Kendall Grove, like all those guys came through, Matt Hughes, like they all came through Coach Paulson's to learn catch wrestling. And guess who was there? Me. I was there the whole fucking time. But did I get my ass kicked sometimes? Yeah. Did I kick some ass? Hell yeah. And there was times where I beat the shit out of some of these guys because they weren't wrestlers. They were jiu-jitsu and fighters, but they couldn't wrestle. So they didn't have that dog, I guess you could say. Well, they had the dog, but not that wrestling pressure. It's different.
It's 100% different.
It's way different. It's way different. Like, I always try to tell my students that too. Like the difference between wrestling and jiu-jitsu is just, it's so different in like, jiu-jitsu is more like a wave. Like it's like, oh shit. Wrestling's like a fucking boulder when you're walking down the street and it just fell off the cliff and was like, oh, what the hell just happened? That's the difference in the pressure. Like it's so sudden and so much at once. Like with a wave, it's coming and you can feel it coming. You can ride it. But jiu-jitsu, like with wrestlers, like a good wrestler, if he put good luck. Pack a lunch.
The intensity of, really good wrestlers that I've come across is just insane. And that's why I say, I just say wrestlers are crazy.
Yeah, we're a little nutty, dude. Like, I wrestled at Cal State Bakersfield. So when I wrestled in college, I was at Cal State Bakersfield, and I had a coach, Rafael Davis, who's actually a UFC referee now, and Stephen Neal. So Stephen Neal, this guy, Stephen Neal was the starting guard for Tom Brady when they had their three-peat. So the guy's 6'8", 285 pounds. When I go, imagine someone 6'8", 285 pounds. Really picture that. No fat whatsoever on. The guy's just a giant. He's like a Sasquatch. And I was like, why does that guy have a sweater on? And I was like, and it was just him. He was just this beast of a man. And I was like, this is what I signed up for? Holy shit. I've seen big people before, but holy crap. Like that was my initiation to college wrestling. Like all of my coaches were like over 6'5". So it was just like, okay, I guess you're going to have to man up now, bro. Like, that was really what it was, and I remember my first or second practice. I think it was my first practice. I wrestled with Stephen Neal, and he shot a straight ankle on me with one hand and lifted me in the air by my foot, bro, and went, like, mind you, I'm a tough kid, dude. I'm a tough guy. Like, you got to really like work to take me down. Like, I'm sorry, you really got to work. Like, I'm gonna fight with my life for that shit. Like the third monkey on Noah's Ark, and there's 2 spaces. Like right. I'm a fucking fight like that if you're trying to take me down. But this guy, like I said, that was my arrival to Cal State Bakersfield. He goes, and I just remember flying the air like, what just happened? Get up! Oh shit! All right, let's get up. Oh, wait, I'm still trying to process what just happened to me, and again, I learned, like, I knew about grit and strength and being tough, hard-nosed in high school wrestling, whatever. But when I went to Bakersfield, like, I learned fucking grit. That was like because Coach TJ Kerr was our head coach, TJ Kerr, and he was like an ex-DI in like, for military, I believe. And so he would kick our ass, like in running and stuff like that. Like there's like no sympathy. Like if you ever seen Heartbreak Ridge, like he was like Tom Highway in that as Clint Eastwood. You got to check that one out. So he was just a very, you gonna do it or not?
Right. No nonsense.
Well, you want me to do that? Yeah. Did I tell you to do it? Yeah. Then do it. Or, there's someone I know on the recruit list that would love to do that. Shit. Like it was like, and it was military training. Like we did not play at that place. And again, that's why I think that's what made me fall in love with the grind. That place taught me how to grind. Cal State Bakersfield. I understood. I started to understand. My freshman year, it was such a shock, but then I saw the process in the summertime, and I was just like, oh, I get it.
Right.
I get it. I fucking get it. Because I beat someone, I don't even remember the guy's name, but I beat someone at a spring tournament that I shouldn't have beat. I shouldn't have beat that guy by any, like, I already know that was like a 1 in 1,000 match win. Like, I remember that specifically because he was a coach at one of the colleges. And I was like a freshman, like going into my sophomore year at like, I think it was Reno or Vegas. I can't remember which one it was. It was either Reno or Vegas tournament. And I ended up beating him just because of that I'd been just getting for the last year and a half. The last year, just getting my ass kicked by Stephen Neal and Raphael Davis. And I just remember it was almost like, dude, these guys have nothing on my coaches. Like, this guy's nothing on my coach. Like, I was able to get out of things and take him down and do things. I ended up beating him by like 2 points. And then I was just like, I get it. Like, I get it now. And that was like never again did I ever question or I just did what needed to be done.
Right.
Just did what needed to be fucking done.
That's kind of crazy because I like just from what I know about you and then just hearing that right now where that's like the switch that kind of like made you appreciate the grind and whatnot, and seeing everything that you do and what we were just talking about before we started recording, and like how busy you are and the different hats you hold and wear, and like, I mean, I would assume that all just kind of like flowed into your life after college wrestling.
So it's exactly. So like that's exactly. So Dan Gable has a saying: once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. Everything else in life is easy. You know what I mean? And how you said the approach, right? It was always like, shit, could I get through all that training? Yeah. Is this killing me physically right now? No. Is it mentally stressing me out? Yes. Okay. Well, then get out of your fucking head. Mm. And that's like, these are lessons I've learned from my dad, from coaches throughout my life. And that was the Steve Lawson thing. Steve Lawson was my coach in high school, and Kyle Iwanaga. And they were big on like, okay, is this killing you physically? No. So it's in your head, right? Yeah, get the fuck out of your head. Like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
as simple as it sounds, and maybe someone else needs to say it to you to do it. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. How we were talking about difference between lifestyle and the way of life, right?
Let's take a break real fast and give a shout out to our sponsor, Anchor Jiu Jitsu Club, located in Chino, California. If you are looking for high-quality jiu-jitsu training, open mat, or just dropping into a class, reach out and schedule a drop-in at www.anchorjiujitsuclub.com or call area code 909-696-6006. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
I get to play paladin on a daily basis. I get to teach the arts of war and healing.
Yeah.
And a lot of that shit for healing, most people say, oh yeah, to be a healer, you got to be harmless. No. If you're a healer and you're harmless, like, you're not helping anybody. You're not. You have to be an absolute savage and be able to fucking hone that shit down and use what's called the Buddha's heart and choose where to flow that energy. Not, demon heart, demon hand, you're a threat to the world. Buddha hand, demon heart, or no, Buddha heart, demon hand. You need both. You need to have both in life. You need to have both. You have to have the balance.
Yeah.
And my balance is surgery and jiu-jitsu. That's my balance of life. Because without that, I couldn't be a dad, couldn't be a husband, couldn't be a coach, couldn't be a leader in my community. That's the biggest thing, is I think that it's not just about your school, it's about your community too. Like, you need to get back to your community, because what is your school without your community or the support of your community? Like, that's the thing. And that's why I've coached, when I think about that, like, my son has played football and baseball since he was 6 years old, every single year. My daughter's played soccer, fall and spring, every single year. I help with every single one of those teams. I manage all of those teams yearly. So, like, I've done that since they were 6 and they're, 12 and 10 now. So that's how I serve my community. I give back that way. And because it's not only like, it's the next generation that we need to worry about. It's not like our time, a lot of us, like my time in the spotlight, I got one more match in me. I really do.
Okay.
I got one more match in me. I just don't know who it is or what, or when it's going to go. And, God will present that to me when it's that time. Because I do have to bow my belt out. I've never bowed my belt out as a competitor. So that's something, there's one left, guys. There's fucking one left. And when that comes, that motherfucker better pray. That's all I'm going to say. Because that's going to be all of this that I just talked to you about coming into one fucking match.
Yeah, man.
The last one. It's going to be the last sword in the fucking ground, hang it, and be done. No, again, it's one of those things that, but even that with competition, like that's the other thing. That's why I love fucking jiu-jitsu, man. Like, you can watch these guys just literally kick the shit out of each other, talk crap, go after each other, beat each other up, try to choke each other, try to break each other's arm, and they're fucking drinking a beer with each other right afterwards. Hey, loser buys the beer. All right, cool, yeah, we'll go fucking have a beer. Cheers. Like, that's what it's about, dude. Like,
that's a balance.
That's a balance right there, because it's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood. And that's really what jiu-jitsu gives people, I think, that seek something deeper, something more than just an activity. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You find a family in jiu-jitsu. You see the same people all the time for years and years and years and years. One of my best training partners, Stephen Kabayan, I have been with that guy for probably 18 years training.
Yeah.
Side by side. My other coach, Brian, I've been with Brian for, Jesus, probably just as long, 17, 18 years. And then, Troy, I've been with for 15 years probably. Like, so like my training partners I roll with, like I've rolled with them. I'm 40 and 41, like almost half of my life.
Yeah.
I've been rolling with these guys. So that's what those are the people that I would consider, like my son always says, why do you call them your brothers? Because they're my brothers, dude. Who else have I gotten choked by? Gotten heel hooked by, gotten, bloody eye, black eye, split lip, broken tooth, cracked knee, sprained wrist, like broken fingers. Like who else has done that to me? No one. These three guys. And it's all love. And it's because that's the thing about jiu-jitsu is that's so beautiful about it is like it's healing through violence. Like healing through violence. And it's something, like I said, that some people need that depth, that dark place to get whatever that trauma, whatever that problem at the root of the base is, to get out. They need that environment, and then to have, people you consider family around you, right next to you the whole time, supporting you at like full fucking speed. It's not fake ass support. It's real support. Like, and that's the thing about the world is there's so many people right now running around with fucking masks on, scared to show who they really are. And that's why I'm so fucking real about everything I say. Like, I want to be the best fucking referee in the world. I will be the best fucking referee in the world. And I think I'm one of the fucking best that are out there. And it's because I pursue a path of excellence that not everybody fucking pursues. Because I've been taught, again, one of my friend Heath and my friend Drew Murillo and Heath, those guys, and BMAC from PGF, those guys are some of the most knowledgeable jiu-jitsu like tomes, like not even just books of knowledge, like tomes of knowledge. And I've got to learn from these people and really project my own style to it, to manifest my own energy into what I want to create while I'm on the mat. And it's something that is now my pursuit, to be the best that I can possibly be in that profession. Because again, the time in the spotlight is kind of at the end now for me, where, like I said, I got one more left. But after that, like, I got nothing to fucking prove to anybody. I've been competing my whole life. I got nothing to prove. I've won world medals. I've won international medals. I've gone to Junior Olympics and the Berlin Games and represented Team USA and Greco. I've done things with my life that I really look back at and go, holy shit, like, thank you. Like, fuck, what a ride. Would I change it? Fuck no. I wouldn't change one fucking day, one decision. Not one thing would I change, because I wouldn't be here right now talking to you.
For sure.
If I did.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean about the way of life versus a lifestyle. Because this is something I have done literally every single day of my life for 30 plus years.
That's insane. I mean, it's insane, but in such the greatest way.
It's more, it's like a, what do they say? Violence is a religion too. And you gotta be proficient in it if that's what you're gonna seek. And, sometimes, my prayers aren't always to be understanding and to be healing and whatever. Like, Jesus flipped tables. Jesus whipped motherfuckers. You know what I mean? When they defiled the temple, hell yeah, he did. You know what I mean? So he didn't play around either. So, like, there are times where you need to pick up your sword, where you need to put on the armor of God, where you need to go out and do something with it. And Buddha heart, demon hand. It's the same theology, just in a different aspect.
Right.
Buddhist versus Christian. But I believe, as a native, I believe in one God. I think we all just call him a different name.
That, I think, is a very true statement.
That's the native belief.
Yeah.
We all believe it. We believe in one creator, which is why we call him the creator. We believe in one creator, and everybody else just calls him a different name. Because there's how many religions in the world? I'm just trying to talk about religions, but there's thousands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what I mean. Like, so you can't tell me like, oh, yours is better than mine, mine's better than yours. I'll never tell you that. I would never judge you on that, because a real God would never judge you either. especially on your belief or what you call them. You know,
Yeah.
You know, friend, hermano, God, Deo. Like it's two different things, right? Everything calls it a different name, and so that's how I see it.
That's a whole conversation that we can definitely get into, but because I kind of feel like I said right now, when I was like, that's a very true statement. Like, you know, yeah, there is a creator, and everybody just calls him a different name depending on whatever your religion wants to call him. You know, and like you said, there's thousands of them. So who's to say that yours is wrong and mine's right? You know what I mean? But jiu-jitsu religion, violence religion.
Yeah, see, and that's what I mean. Like it's a religion. Like violence is a religion, and you have to be proficient in it if that's what you seek.
Yeah.
And that's how that for some reason always is playing in my mind when I think about that, because I know a lot of prayers of violence, like with if you break it down like that, and it's one of those things where it's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. Because, you are teaching people that techniques that can truly alter people, like lives, mobilities, abilities to live a life a certain way. Like some of these locks and these moves can kill you. And so it's like, you have to realize that when you're playing jiu-jitsu, you're playing who can kill who faster. And that's the mentality I tell my students think I'm fucking crazy. I'm not joking. Like they think, dude, that guy's fucking nuts. Well, no, like, the mentality of that aspect in competition when you're trying to compete, like you have to have that, like that dire wolf that's been in the fucking dark cave for the last 6 months, hasn't seen the light of day, just fucking hungry as shit. And when you open that door, he's gonna rip you apart. Like that's how you have to be, because motherfucker over there is gonna do it to you if you don't do it to him. That's the facts. So if you don't have that mentality going in there, the fuck are you doing here? Yep. Like when we're rolling, like people listen to me, they're like, "Fuck, dude, he's good." Because I was taught like that when we rolled. Again, college, right? College. He would psychologically tap into us when we were exhausted. Like really tap into us when we're exhausted. You gonna take that down, or you gonna lose? You're in the third round right now. You gonna get the fuck? You just like tap into the primal sense. Not everyone can tap into the primal, but primal only comes from exhaustion. So like my guys will tell you, when we were competing for worlds, right? When we had that thing, I had a rule. However many people come and show up at class, that's 5-minute rule for everybody. Sometimes I had 10 people at class. Okay, 5, 10, 50, 20, 50 minutes. All right, 5 minutes, take a break, 5 minutes, take a break, 5 minutes, take a break. We literally would do because it's a 2-hour class. We have 2 classes back to back. And if you're competing, I say you have to go both. Sorry. If you're going to compete, you need to do both. You have to learn that. You have to learn how to move and think while you're exhausted, because in a match, in a tournament, if you get to the placing round, you're going to be exhausted.
Right.
You're going to be. So you already have to be exhausted. I was always taught you have to be exhausted before you learn, because that's when the primal sense of the mind starts to take over and your body starts to remember. Because when you get tapped into that state in a match, your body just naturally picks up to where you've been trained in that form.
That comes that muscle memory.
100% muscle memory. And so we would do all that, and then we would do technique. And so you're already like, oh, okay, we'll do the technique now. Nope, do it perfectly. Step to the side, shift to the hip. I know you're tired, so is he. Keep moving. So you're learning how to move your body while you're exhausted, or at least somewhat, I won't even say the word tired or warmed up. You have to excite the body first to get it to get those nerves firing and stuff like that, so you can really start learning like kinetic or kinesthetic memory. Because again, that's what I do and what I went to school for. So like biomechanics was my major. So I learned how to tap into certain parts of the body and the way, and to make it work with the mind. Because they always say, Daniel Bolelli, I think, said it, was that, when the mind is endowed, the body will always give tangible proof. So when your mind's the right way, your body will always produce a result. And so if you can learn not only to use it while you're exhausted, but if you can understand those principles in that state when you start in a clear mind, it's going to come just like, that's when you see those guys just, and you're like, what the fuck? It's because they have been pushed so hard in practice to a point where you're literally like, I'm telling you, like you're hanging on people because you're so exhausted in practice, like hanging to try to like fight. You're in deep water.
Right.
Like you're in deep water. Like not everybody can train that way. Not everybody can get people to do that. And I've been trained by so many people who have done that to me. And again, like I'm pretty tough. It's hard to really exhaust me. So if I'm exhausted, I know goddamn well you are. So like that's how I push my students. And all my students know that I will do everything right next to them, because I tell my students as well, I will never ask you to physically do something I cannot do myself, because I'm the head coach and I should be that way. I should be leading by example. Yeah. Again, a way of life versus a lifestyle. A lot of coaches like to do this. No, like I'm in the shit with you. Like I'm no better than you. The way I was learned it is people are like, you're a master to some, but a student to all. And so you always have to come to it as, again, with that mindset of that real leaders serve first. So I have to show you how to do it, not just tell you how to do it.
Right.
And I'm a product of grappling. I've literally done this since I could breathe.
Yeah, you have.
I've literally been in, my parents have pictures of me in like the baby seats, that old school 80s baby seats, like with my dad doing karate, and I'm sitting right there in the seat, just like watching them kick bags and shit like that. That's just it's just what I know. Yeah. I don't know anything else. So like, and that's why my wife's always like, you're always moving. I don't know. My biggest thing is I don't know how to slow down. I fish. That's what I do. I fish and I hike. I hike and fish. That's what I do.
Fishing, I would see slowing down.
Yeah.
Hiking, not so much.
It's hiking to fish. So it's like, it's hiking to fish. So it's like, it kills my urge. And then I'm like, all right, I'm here. And like fucking, sit down or whatever. But I love to fish. I do love to fish. And, I'm a big Renaissance man. So I love to read. I write poetry. I garden. Hence Warriors Garden. I garden. I have a huge garden in my backyard. I work with leather because of my lineage in the Native American community in our tribe. I actually make medicine bags. So like, I have a company called Medicine Bags with a Z, Medicine Bags with a Z, but, and I usually do it for I do it for people like they're only, they're individually made, and it takes me, I do it the old way, how we do it on the reservation and stuff like that. So, I try to tap into everything. I love going to museums. I love art. I love history. I love the ancients. I'm just trying to be a Renaissance man, dude.
Yeah, I could totally see that. As soon as you said I'm a Renaissance man, I was like,
yeah, I'm trying to be a Renaissance man. I love, everything about the life that I live and how blessed I am to live it. So I feel like I owe the world what I can give it while I can give it. And that's why I do so much, because I feel like some of the stuff I know needs to be taught and needs to be learned by somebody. And I don't care who it is, that's, I got to show it to somebody, because I know too much to just have it sit here.
Yeah, no, I feel like anybody that has, and this is just on the martial arts aspect, but as much experience as you do, as many years as you've been in grappling and jiu-jitsu and karate and everything, it'd be almost a shame if you didn't share some of it.
It'd be a sin.
Yeah.
It'd be a sin.
Even if it was just with your own family, but to share that knowledge in some shape, form, or fashion,
Yes, and that's the thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find a platform to film it on now. I feel like now's the time to start, really, I guess they have that BJJ fanatic stuff or something like that. I don't know. I guess I just have never really looked into it. People are always telling me I should, but I am at a point in my life where I've written, I have 3 journals at home, handwritten journals. They're literally full of techniques. Wow. Because I've been keeping a journal since I started with Coach Paulson 22 years ago, literally. And because that's what he told me to do back then.
Right.
Keep a journal. Okay, so everything I have learned since I've been with Coach Paulson is written down somewhere. So I have literal journals, 3 of them full of just line by line technique. And I'm just too fucking lazy And I just don't want to spend the time. That's my problem. I don't want to spend the time going through all that because it would take me for fucking ever. It would take me, oh my God, it would take me so long. Like I don't even, and it's so all over. It would be like trying to like piece, because it's probably like one technique's here and one's in this one and it's in this, like trying to like, oh yeah, there's probably, and there's so many repeated because the chain. So a chain changes it and turns it into that move, and now that move translates to this chain, to this chain, to that chain. That's the thing about catch wrestling that's different than jiu-jitsu in the form of chaining, where jiu-jitsu is a big style of that, you know, position before submission, right? Like it's all about that position before submission, especially in the sports aspect, you know, and the points and everything like that. Catch wrestling is rip, crank, tear by any means necessary. That's really what it is. That's literally the moniker. Rip, crank, tear by any means necessary.
That's crazy.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, so for me, things that are like savage to other people, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like a daily occurrence in my gym. What are you crying about? Like, what's the problem? So as a referee, that's why I'm so like hard-nosed. I'm like, okay, and? Are you injured or are you hurt? Like, do you want to do this or not?
Oh, it's like kind of like the way you were telling me earlier. With your decisions.
Oh yeah.
You were just like, this is what it is.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You want to do it or not? Like, again, I have spent so much time on the mat in the last 3 years, like all my life really, but like consistently the last 3 years, I have done something almost like monthly that I'm refereeing like an event or doing something that has to do with some kind of super fighting or submission fighting or kickboxing or something like that, because I'm really just a tough nerd, dude. I really am. I'm a really tough nerd because I love to study, and reffing to me is study. Again, at its best form, at its purest form, it's the best study in the world. Because again, I'm getting, you know, when I was at PGF, you know, when the 170s were fighting and then like the 205s, I'm watching some of the best 205s in the world just going after each other. Some of the best 170 people in the world going after each other. You know, fucking chasing Andy Valera over the top of a couch, holding on to PJ Barch, and I'm like,
Were you the ref on that?
yeah, that's the one. I'm like, I was like, because I told him I'm like, stop, Andy, stop. No, so this is what tells you about these athletes. Mind you, I'm a strong guy. Okay, so I'm holding Andy with everything I can, and he's got PJ Barch in a body lock. He jumps with me on his back and holding PJ up and over the first fucking couch. And I was like, this motherfucker's strong. Like, that was literally like what I was thinking. I was like, wow. I was like, these guys are nuts. Okay, this is where we're at. Okay, we gotta, you know, like
I mean, at the same time, like, you know, we're both in our 40s. They're probably in their
late 20, yeah. So they're in their primes, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
they're strong as hell.
oh yeah. So like me chasing those guys down, I was like, damn. I was like, this is crazy. But that's what I mean. Like, watching those movements at that speed, that velocity, that ferocity, and that much full speed movement. That's full speed. Like, that's not fucking holding shit back. Like, that's full fucking speed. So if I see you do that in a match, that's exactly what's going to look like full speed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe not like that, because those are professionals and they're reacting, you know, it's probably be a little sloppy. You're like, whoa, fall down.
But
one of them would fall down.
Intensity.
But the intensity is what I'm talking about. Like, seeing, you know, someone try to pass a guard, because in PGF we have a stalling rule. We have a flag. Like, if you're on top and you're standing there, we will fucking flag you and tell you, get the fuck on it. Like, move. Like, you came here to compete. Let's move.
So just, I'm a fan of PGF, dude.
I love PGF. I love PGF.
So cool. I think you know what, the past 2 seasons ago, when it kind of like made a bigger drop, you know, it just kind of like, it gave everybody a different look on like how jiu-jitsu could be in terms of competition, and in a good way. Yeah. And right now, when they're coming up on their new season, where it's going to be like extended. Dude,
it's cool. So they're doing a.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So they're doing a season now. It's going to be like the NFL for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a weekly event, like on like Sundays, but it'll be on a Wednesday instead. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be. I I think PGF is, like I said, learning what they're doing and how they're elevating the game with that format. That's something I've never seen before, heard before. And again, you have to remember, like, again, I've been in this system with jiu-jitsu and grappling since I was a kid.
Right.
So like I came from a time where, my dad was a cop, so like he knew a couple people like that knew how to like fight or whatever, so it was like I had to know a guy that was holding something at the Boys and Girls Club, video something, or he would teach us like, 5 or 6 moves of this like karate or wrestling or judo or whatever the move was. And then if you want to learn more, here's my video sets. It had like 3 sets of videos, right, where he recorded himself doing like Uncle Rico shit, like Uncle Rico shit from like, throwing the football kind of shit, like, but stuff like that. But he was actually showing us real techniques,
right,
like real fucking techniques. But I just never saw him before, so I was just like, okay, cool. I'm gonna give them. How much are they? $5. All right, $5. Like at that time in the 80s, early 80s, $5 was way more than what it is now.
Videos,
yep.
That'd be so cool.
I still have. So my dad has videos of like old videos that he used to do when he was wrestling and stuff like that. So like, Dave Schultz, he has a video of Dave Schultz. He went to a seminar in the Midwest with Dave Schultz, and he has a video of him showing him like this. It's like this, he's like shooting, and it's like a high double for big guys. Instead of us getting all the way underneath the hips, it's like attacking the armpit to tilt the shoulders. Mm-hmm. And that was one of my favorite ones. So like, again, he's got videos of shit that's just like in a container clamped up and chilling in the fucking attic, just hanging out.
That's awesome.
Just hanging out, literally just hanging out. I don't know. And then he's got all my matches on cassette, like in these little tapes, but they're all in the same place, just hanging in the attic. Like, all my medals. That's the thing is like, I don't like when we started, like I'm not about like fame and glory, that kind of shit like that. Like I don't like wear my medals around or hang them around. Like my medals are literally in my daughter's tea set like box, and I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not lying. Like medals I've had from like Worlds or Internet, like they're literally. She cut the ribbon off a couple of them, and I was like, I don't fucking care. Like it's just, to me, it's, and again, because it's a way of life, right? So it's not that okay. I was the best. I was the best in the room. That whatever. There's still another one. Move on. You don't hold on to that. And 3 years ago I won. Okay, well, what have you done since that? I think, okay, cool. Was that the last one? Okay, cool. Well, no, congrats. Like, but for me, it wasn't the last one. So, all right, cool. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Put it away. Here you go, babe. Go play with it. Oh, this one's silver. Oh, this one's bronze. Oh, this one's gold. Oh, this one, like whatever the colors were. It was just like, for her, it was just, I got different colors now. Cool. Right. I fucking care. Like, take them. Play with them, babe. And many times I was sitting there with, Hello Kitties playing like tea time with, world medals and shit. With my medals on as the plates and stuff like that. Yeah, like, and it just, but that's ultimately, for the young people that watch this, that's ultimately what they end up as. They're just memories of a time that was great, but that's not something I'm going to hold on to for the rest of my life, because I've got new memories to make and I've got other things to do with my life. So,
you do a lot.
And I do a lot. And, but jiu-jitsu is one of those things that I will do until the day I die. It's something I will do until I die. I'm not going to ever stop. I'm never going to slow down. I mean, I might slow down, but I'm not going to ever stop practicing. It's not something in me. I've been doing it since the day I was born. Why would I stop?
Right. You're in some shape, form, or fashion, it's going to be a part of your life. Especially if you're going to be the best ref in the fucking world.
That's what I'm trying to do.
So
and
you're going to be on a mat somewhere.
Somewhere learning, somewhere explaining, somewhere doing something. Again, it's just something that I'm doing. What I'm watching my life do now is I'm in a state of gratefulness and appreciation for what God's putting in front of me, because everything that I've wanted in my life for my passions at the moment are currently falling into place in a speed and in a way that I'm not ready for yet, but we'll deal with the blessing how it's coming.
Wow.
And that's the way I see it, is it's like an overabundance of blessings where it's like, oh man, I'm doing this, and you know, like, and like Subversive's my family, dude. Like Subversive is, you know, Mike and Josh and Samson and TJ and just that whole crew, Gus and Kevin, and I mean that whole group, Chan. I mean, I can't name everybody. There's so many people in that group. Mike, there's just everyone there is just, it's something I've never had in my life like that. And to be a part of something like that because of my passion, like, what? Like, I ran into it was funny, I was telling them this story the other day. I ran into an old referee, right, that used to be a high school ref in my area at the gym. I hadn't seen him since high school, right? And I was telling him, like, we're talking, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. Fuck, man, I'm just tired. And he's like, man, how blessed are you? And I was like, what? I just told you I'm tired. How's that a blessing? Like, I'm fucking tired, motherfucker. Like, I'm fucking beat. Like, I'm beat right now. And he's like, no, think about it. He's like, how blessed are you to grow tired into the pursuit of something that you love? And I was like,
yeah.
And I was like, whoa. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about that. And he goes, no, seriously, think about that, man. How many people you see at this gym probably doing shit they can't stand? You get tired fucking doing this or running that, or they're tired. They don't want to do that shit. They can't stand it. He's like, what you just told me? He's like, that's how I know you're a successful young man.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're tiring yourself with the things that you love. So that's the biggest blessing. He's all, that's what life's about. He's all suffering for something worth the suffering. He's all, and ultimately, that's love. Love is the highest discipline. And I don't think enough people practice it. So that's why I'm so involved, because it's something I want to show people. It's not just me being friendly. Like, no, I'm trying to give you genuine love. Like, I want to help you. If I can help you, I really want to help you, because when I was doing this shit, if I don't fucking help me, no one had I didn't know anybody with a platform like Subversiv to give, you know, like we were doing this thing for the Wild Style for kids. Holy shit, man. Yeah. Don't even get me started on that.
Those kids are little ninjas.
Bro, like, no, just fuck, the passion I have for these kids, man, it just fucking pumps me up. I'm going to get like that. It just pumps me up. Because as a kid, I would have killed for a fucking platform like that. Wrestling and jiu-jitsu at that time, in the 80s and 90s, fucking, who the hell? We're grabbing each other? Like, no. Now it's like a mainstream thing.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to do it. It's on every fucking corner. Like I said, I had to know someone that was a Boys and Girls Club, or, you know, the YMCA, or at the high school that stayed late, or, you know, that was how I learned my wrestling growing up. So, also being a spear that's heading that along with Subversiv and Gus, I'm literally I'm helping manifest the dream I wanted as a kid for this next generation. That is why we do what we do as coaches. That is why we do what we do as instructors and as people in the community of jiu-jitsu. It's all about the next generation. It's not, I mean, yeah, it's about us for a little bit, but it's about the generation. How are you, you know, what example are you giving them to follow? And this platform of Wild Style that Subversiv has created, I mean, fuck, dude, it's just so badass to see some of these kids that literally, you know, they're not baseball players, or maybe they are, but maybe some kids aren't good at baseball. Some kids aren't good at soccer. You know, oh yeah, they're not athletic. You know, you see that all the time from other people or other parents. Oh, the kid's not athletic. Well, hey, if you got a wrestling mat with him, he'll whoop your ass. You know what I mean? Like, that's, again, everyone has their gift, whatever it is. The beautiful thing about this, man, is it's not just, we don't just get to see your gift, man. We get to nurture it. We get to help it grow. Warriors Garden Jiu-Jitsu. I get to be a part of growing your skill, because at full speed, that's how the rose truly blossoms. You can give it food and water and it'll be a small rose, but you want to make it magnificent, you have to jump through the fire to do that. And wild style, like I get so pumped talking about it because I never had that, man. Like as a kid, like I want my kids to do it, but again, I can't push my kids to do that. Like competing it's not for everyone. Right. Not everyone's a competitor. Some people are just artists. They're not competitors. So that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine if that's what you want to do with the art. But the fact that, again, that we get to nurture the skills of these athletes and make them the next superheroes for the generation below them.
Yeah, dude.
Tell me something better in life. Life is about planting it's about planting the tree for somebody else to sit under that you'll never see. Subversive and wild style is planting a seed that no one else has. And we're nurturing that for the generation after this generation, not just for the one that's fighting now. Mm-hmm. And to be a part of that, what else could I ask for in this life? I have a woman that loves me, beautiful family, blessings through my school, my parents, my friends, my job. I get a daily dose of humility because I think my life's so bad and that someone my age comes in with full-blown cancer. I'm blessed, man. I'm fucking blessed. And to be able to share that, to have the ability and the platform to make other people's dreams come true, that's all I've ever wanted. And I have it with Subversiv.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fucking cool to know that that's happening. And that I'm watching everything that I've wanted since I was a kid manifest itself in the last couple of years. Just manifest itself just because I never took my feet off the ground. I just kept grinding, just kept going for it, kept taking risks, put myself out there. And that's what it is. You got to put yourself out there. And it's not about, why is that guy always there? Why is that guy always there? Because I'll always say yes to that. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid for you to judge me. And if I make a bad call, whatever, that was my decision and I'll stand by it. That's why I thought that. And I'll talk it out with you if you want. But ultimately, I want to be the best referee in the world. And I feel like the only way I can do that is to consistently stay out there, to stay active, to stay relevant, and not only to stay relevant, but to bring that relevancy back to my students so that they can become relevant as well. And that's my goal, is to eventually take these people that have entrusted me with the skill of learning this art, and if that's something they seek, then I want to give them that opportunity to put themselves out there. And like I said, I'm the athlete liaison and head referee for Subversiv. And, I get to make phone calls to every single one of these fighters and talk to them about, why they're doing this or what they're doing. And some of the stories I hear are it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's this world.
Fucking awesome.
Martial arts. In the short time that I've been involved with it, it's been amazing as well. Like the emotions and the appreciation and everything that you're feeling. Dude,
this is love, dude. This is love.
It's so
I
nice
love this, dude. I love this shit. Like, that's the thing. The only reason I picked up Luis and Coach Rich is because they love this shit as much as I do.
Yeah.
I love jiu-jitsu. I love grappling. I love submission arts and catch wrestling. I fucking love it. Like, there's no other word for it. I am nothing without it, and it would be like, that is who I am. That's what I am. That's what formed me into what I am now in my life. Even in my professional aspect. Like you said, I always would be like, well, is this physically killing me? No. Is this mentally affecting me? Yeah. Get the fuck out of my head. All right, move forward. And that's like, it's as simple as that. It's really as simple as that. Now, is it harder some days than others?
Right.
And you're not always the best. I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best dad or the best husband all the time, but I'm always trying. And I hope that my example as a coach is something that my kids can pick up on too. Because it's not just, I don't just coach. Like I always tell people, like when I have my kids there, I'm always telling them, like, I'm coaching for you. And these people are just lucky to be here. I'm doing this to be with you. Because, my dad, again, was very big on a quote. Because I used to always be like, the fuck are you always here for, man? Like, you get high school, you're like, what are you always here for? Like, why in the hell? But he always used to live by a quote that he used to use was presence over presence.
Yeah.
Presence over presence.
Yeah.
Would you rather me be here or buy you something for not being here? Yeah. I'd rather be here. Okay. Well, that's why I'm always here.
Especially when you look back on it, I'm sure.
Oh,
even more so, like, God, I'm glad he was there.
Well, and that's, I coached high school wrestling. I coached at Villa Park and I coached Sonora High School for a little bit. I was a high school teacher before I got into surgery, actually. So I was a PE teacher. So, yeah, so I coached a wrestling and I coached a wrestling program. So when I did that, it was like, that's where I saw it. That's where I saw it. Kids on my wrestling team, fuck, I wish my mom could make it, but she's got to work 3 jobs. Really? Like, word? Like, you know what I mean? Like, another one, oh man, I just wish my dad would be, he doesn't like to come to school. So it's okay. It's okay. Fuck. Like, you hear this stuff from your students or from your athletes, and then you're like, dude, my dad was always there. My parents were always there. Like, wow. So that's why I became a coach, for people like that. I'm here.
Yeah, you can show it for them. That's awesome.
Where I coached, there was a lot of inner city kids. And I remember them. One specifically. This kid named Rogelio. This kid, just an adult at 14. Wake up, he would do a shift of janitor before school, go to school, go to wrestling practice, shower after wrestling practice, janitor till like 10 o'clock at night, and walk home. Through the vadio, like through the hood.
Yeah.
At 14, and you did that for 4 years? Fuck, dude. Like, and those are the people, that's why I became a coach. For him, like, there were times where I just stayed, because I was a teacher. So I'd be like, I'm here till 8. Fuck. You got a ride tonight? I'm just going to finish, coach. Just stay. Because I was single at that. I didn't have shit to do at that time. I was single and whatever. I was like, I'll wait for you. Just, because that's what coaching is so much of you're the shadow now. Like, you have to step yourself back and really realize that's what, it's not about you. It's not about you. And it's about who you're teaching. It's about who you're nurturing. It's about who you're shaping and molding. Because if I teach you the wrong way, you're going to continue to do it that way. I don't mean the wrong way in technique wise, right. Like a dishonorable way, like a malicious way to do something, and I don't talk to you about using it the correct way. That's my failure, not yours. That's my failure. So anything I teach, I am very adamant about the aspect of responsibility for it, because, like I said, some of these techniques that we do can kill you, like I said, we're vessels of violence, right? We're vessels of violence. And, I'm blessed because not only am I a vessel of violence, but I can also heal through violence, both surgically and through combat. And that's why I consider myself a paladin. And I really do believe that. I feel like, the Creator sends us on missions, and that's my mission. My mission is to teach, to heal, and to learn. Those are my missions.
There's some Heavy missions, man.
Yep. And my prayer has always been, just help me bear crosses.
Yeah.
Help me be like Simon. Help me to pick people up that can't stand up for themselves.
Well, I hope all those kids, like especially the one you're mentioning,
He's good. He's actually training jiu-jitsu now.
well, cool. Like you keep in touch with them, I'm assuming then, and you're obviously always going to be a part of his life. You know what I mean? Like he's going to look back and be like, damn, like my coach was always there for me at that time.
That's what's it's crazy. There's a kid actually that's active in the community now, Chris Hahn. Mm-hmm. He's a ADCC champion. He's done some stuff like Chris Hahn. I remember that kid as a freshman in my wrestling room.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember him laughing about talking to telling me like it was on his last senior practice. He's like, I don't feel like I'm done, coach. I'm well, then don't stop. Keep going.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Sounds like a coach.
And then I run into him at like a tournament somewhere as I'm a referee, and I'm like, oh shit, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, you're still here? Oh yeah. Then I find out that he's like really doing well in the community and like in his competition. Turns out he's a cop too. Okay. So I'm like, all right, shit, dude, look at you. Funny enough, a lot of the kids I coached, like a quarter of them went to military. A couple of them were cops. I was like, damn, man, what did I train you guys like?
Well, maybe that like structure and discipline, maybe that you instilled with them as a coach and through like the programs, just like something they craved.
I think so too. I mean, like you said, it's or like I was saying, it's a brotherhood, right? It's a different. Grappling and wrestling is way different than any other sport, than any other activity or art that you do. You know what I mean? But we are artists. Like, our movements. It's violent dance. That's really what it is. It's a violent dance, and whatever you want to call it. Like, oh yeah, but no, it's a violent dance. It's literally what we're doing. If you considered it art, I went to a. This was what was really cool. I went to, where was I? I was in Mexico, and I saw this event, and they were doing karate, but they had sensors on their feet, and there was like a screen up there, and they were sparring, but every time they stepped, it would paint like a stroke on the screen. So they would paint pictures, and then they were selling them to raise it for charity.
That's awesome.
So they were like fighting, and any foot movement was being recorded. So it was like an abstract art of it was like abstract picture of the fight itself.
That's kind
and I was like, that is so fucking. But it made me think like, wow, like our movements really do paint art. Like if you really put streaks or however you could trace it somehow, it would create some kind of art because we're all energy, right? So it's just manipulating energy. So it would just like when I saw it that way, I was like, "Wow, that is cool." I was like, "That is a really cool place. That is a really, really cool place to see that." And it was a really cool display of martial arts through art.
Right.
And I was like, I'd never seen anything else like that before. And that to me was something that I was like, wow, like we really are artists. And ever since then, I've taken that mentality of like every match is a painting. It really is. It's a fresh canvas with two new painters that get to paint their art for the world to see. And
I 100% agree with that.
And that again is the aspects of flowing with water and dancing with fire. Because someone might be aggressive and the other might be mellow, and they might be a guard puller, the other might be pressure passer. So there it is. That's the balance where the yin and yang, where you have to flow or dance, one of the two.
Man, dude, it's really cool sitting here talking to you, man. Because like again, you're just like you're very intense and you're very, but in a good way, like in a nice way. And again, like you have so many like emotions and everything for everything you've done. But it's kind of gone a little bit different than what I thought how I was gonna be here, but in a great way, because I love this. I
don't talk about myself. I'm not here to.
No, you're not. I take that as anything.
Yeah, I'm not my. I'm at a point in my life where I've transitioned to a stage that it's my turn to give back now.
Yeah.
So it is my turn to give back, and I have the opportunities and the platforms, and I know the people to do it. So that's why I'm so intense about it, because I wish I would have had someone like me at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm becoming that person for everybody else, so that I can give people a chance, so that I can help people realize their dreams. So like, everything's about levels in this game. You know, you never want to plateau. And, you know, I can offer people that next level. And the ones that want to be serious will take it to that level. The ones that don't, you know, as Coach Paulson loves to tell me all the time, it's not about who's good. In the end, it's about who's left.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep. And here I am 22 years later.
Still here, man.
Still doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, you're still here.
I'm still here. And, you know, like I said, those 4 coaches I talked to you about, those are the people I've known since white belt. Everybody else is gone.
Are they? I'm sure they're all still coaching.
Yep, they're all still moving around. Troy's son's Ethan Vistro, Sniper BJJ. He's very active in the community, very, very active. And he's down there in Texas with B Team. But I watched that kid grow up on the mat.
Yeah.
I watched him from braces and glasses to putting people in knee braces and shit. You know, so like yeah. So it's a trip, because like you said, I've watched so many of these top fighters now, and like LFAs and all these like fighting things. I've watched them grow up. Like, I've literally watched them grow up on the mat, some of them. And that's ultimately, you know, you're that big brother now that's like the old cousin, or the person that's just in the old lion, the old wolf, you know, that, you know, if you want to test me, I'll bite your ass. Like, but please don't. I'm old, and it's like there's days where I go and I'm like, I just do not want this pace. I just want to roll, guys. Can you just? Fuck no, I'm a black belt. I just gotta fucking roll, sucking that bitch. All right, you know, like that's like I always love to tell people, like I have talked myself out of every single fucking grappling, wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, whatever. I have literally talked myself out of every single fucking practice on the way there. And then I get to the fucking parking lot and I'm like, I'm here. Might as well fucking do it. like, you know, but the whole way I'm like, you know, I could go do this. I don't have to get beat up today. You know, I don't have to stretch my arm out, or, you know, I don't want to hurt my back, or, you know, no, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm in the parking lot and I'm like, all right, we're here. Fuck.
Yeah, I feel like it's, you know, myself included, a lot of people are like that, to where.
No, I've done that shit for like 30 years. Like, I'm not joking, like 30 years. But I hate to love this as much as I do, because I know what's involved and what has to be done daily to stay in that way, to stay, you know, relevant with my body, not just technique. Because over the years, my body's beat up. Yes. You know what I mean? And, you know, I got stem cells from New Hope Regeneration. And like, ever since I got that, dude, like, why do you think I can do so much? Awesome. Like legit, like 100%, that changed everything. Like, for me, I got those about 2 years ago, and it just completely changed everything. Completely changed my everything that I'm able to do now, because now my body can move. So like, I have to do something daily, because if not, my body will break down, because I have so many years of wear and tear and cracks and pops and clicks and, you know, you know what? I wouldn't fucking change it. Again, I wouldn't fucking change it for a world.
20 plus years of that, I can only imagine.
Oh, bro, and that's just jiu-jitsu. Wrestling is like 30 plus, you know? So like, and that's where I'm at now. I'm at a point, like I said, with coaching and reffing, where I want to give back, do all that. And, the only thing I really want right now in life, maybe to travel, That's really travel. Maybe go do some seminars, someone's school somewhere.
I was gonna say,
that would be cool as fuck.
Well,
And that would be cool. Like I've just never reached out anywhere. I've never really, gone anywhere. The only place that I think I'm going in July is what is it? Mercedes out there in Tucson, 10th Planet Tucson.
Oh,
with Arbitech, like Toro Tech. They're that's a badass little spot out there in Tucson. I'm trying to book something out there in July sometime. But other than that, like I'd love to go around and like teach this stuff because I got a lot to show, man. So much to show, and it's like I'm getting to the point at Coach Paulson is like, he'll show me something where I'm like, dude, what the heck was that? He's like, oh, I forgot. I was like, you forgot? What do you mean you forgot? Like, Coach Eric Paulson is one of the kindest, funniest guys in the world because he's like, oh, I forgot. I was watching a fight the other day. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I got stuck here. And I was like, oh, why doesn't you just do this, and this? Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going to teach that.
You just gave him the lesson.
What? You know what I mean? Like, that's the stuff. It's like, even after 22 years with Eric Paulson, I still go there and learn stuff. And I'm like, wait, what is that? And again, it's always, why didn't I know that before? Oh, I forgot to teach it, or maybe I showed it and you weren't here, or I don't know.
There's always something.
There's always,
yeah.
The guy is, and he's working with the Rutolos right now. So like, he got them ready for CJI.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. He got them ready for CJI and stuff like that. So like, Paulson is just a legend. He's like my dad. He's like my second dad. I can honestly say that because I've known him. I'm 41 and I've been with him for 21 years. Yeah. I've been with him longer than half my life.
Yeah.
So I've been with him longer than I've been alive. That's how much I've been doing jiu-jitsu. Than half my life, right? Half my life has been literally jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So and grappling. That's just it's what I do. It's what I love.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that that's where you trained under him for so long. I was kind of like, wow, like that's pretty heavy.
And again, I came home from college wrestling, thought I was in great shape. My friend's like, I'll never forget myself saying that. And he goes, hey man, you got to come train with me at Eric Paulson. I was like, who the hell's Eric Paulson? He said that. I was like, who's Eric Paulson? And I went, I found out real quick. If you
would have asked me if, maybe like 5 years ago, I would have been the same. I'm like, who's Eric Paulson? Is he in the UFC?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Everyone goes, oh, UFC? And I'm like, dude, and everyone always, everyone says that. He's like the American pioneer.
Yeah.
He's a pioneer of this catch and this Shudo, MMA style, if you watch Joe Rogan's, like Eddie Bravo's talking about like Eric Paulson teaching him footlocks in like the fucking parking lots and stuff, like that kind of stuff. So it's like, for me, the people again that I've been around to train under, personally, some of the other people that I've really worked with was like Bruno Polista was another guy that I worked with. Dan Lucart, Trumpet Dan is what they call him. That guy is like, you want to know anything about jiu-jitsu, you ask Dan Lucart. Okay, Dan Lucart will fucking tell you. Oh, dude, no, Dan Lucart will tell you who it was, what date it was, what the sweep was, what the point system was when he did it. Dan Lucart at Brea Jiu-Jitsu is one of the best analytical jiu-jitsu people I know. Like he is like the typical. He's a perfect example of what an instructor is, both physically and mentally, like putting it together in a scientific form for jiu-jitsu.
Brea Jiu-Jitsu?
Brea Jiu-Jitsu. And then Sean, it's in Brea, California.
Yeah.
And then obviously, and then, Sean Roberts out of Sector BJJ. Sean Roberts is old school, man.
Sector right here?
Sector, yeah. Sector. Down the street, dude, you should be checking them out too. Yeah. You should go train there a couple times. Sean is he's an OG, dude. Like, he was doing stuff before people were even doing stuff now. And people are calling stuff like CJI, they did this like calf slicer or whatever. It's called a Sean Roberts special. You know what I mean? Like ham sandwich from the front. But that's his move, and some other guy hit it, and BMAC is like, oh, the Sean Roberts special. Yeah, that because again, I've rolled with some people that are just, and you would see them and you would not think like that they were like killers. You would think they were just really nice guys that looked like they could fight, but they would murk you.
Yeah.
Just
a lot of people
murk
like
you. Like just murk you. You know what I mean? So like I've been just, those instructors were the ones that helped me with my gi journey, because I was predominantly a catch wrestler.
Right.
So like my gi journey, those were the people that really helped me. Those three guys, they really helped me a lot with my gi. And then Paulson started his gi program, and then I eventually went through that with Higan Machado and all those guys like that, the Machado family.
Yeah.
So I've known Higan for 20 years. So that's like,
cool. I mean, Machados are obviously like legendary in the sport, but they're also, I mean, if it wasn't for them, there'd be no 10th Planet. And it's one of those things, Jean Jacques, like, Jean Jacques is just like, I've been blessed to meet him at PGF too. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the legends I've met at PGF, and like the way that they do their afternoon, they have like a training session in the afternoon. Like, if you are part of the staff there, you can come and bring your gear. Like learning from like Dean Lister, like learning from like Eddie Bravo, like learning private shit from all these guys. I mean, really, bro, like that kind of stuff, like is like, again, I've been blessed. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Blessed to see that stuff. Zoltan, learning judo from Zoltan. He's a bass player for Five Finger Death Punch. Mm-hmm. Some of the judo stuff that he showed me in the couple times that I've been there with him at PGF, just little things he showed me, like have completely altered my fucking game. Like things that I'm just like, oh yeah, oh, whoo, I didn't know that did that. Okay, thanks Z. I know that's what that does now. I mean, but that's the community, right? Like when you get to the top, like again, who's left? Like, and the ones that are left, like those are the wolves. You know what I mean? And I love Daniel Bolelli as far as his philosophy. I read a lot of philosophy, and it's his. That's why I have this. This is a man that knows that there's a wild animal underneath his skin is less likely to be intimidated by reality. So I always have it tearing out. I always know that there's an animal underneath.
Is that the origin of that kind of like tattoo design? Or
I don't know. Maybe.
On their skin?
Maybe. I'm not sure, but that's like my.
I've never heard that quote before.
Yeah, I read a lot of philosophy. I read a lot. I like to read in my garden. I literally make some tea, sit in the garden. I'm that guy. Like I might look like some big fucking guy. Oh yeah, sure. No, like I'm like, imagine talking shit about me, and I'm as bad as this sounds, I'm reading a book, sipping some tea, and smoking a J, and just.
You are the warrior inside, huh?
Oh, hey, hold on. There's some water. Like spray my flower. Like that's me. Like that's what I love to do. That's my peace. So, as like I said, that's why I started Warriors Garden Jiu Jitsu, to create that for somebody else. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it always starts up here.
What's that saying? Kind of like something like, you won't know peace until you know violence.
Violence, yeah. You won't know peace until you know violence. Like that, yeah. So that's the most, like I said, that's the beautiful thing about this art is you can choose to be a monster or not. You can choose that path. That's on you whether or not you do it or not. There's an old movie I used to watch. It's called Last Kingdom. And he talks about, oh yeah, no, I don't know about my faith. He's like, well, I don't put any stock in faith because I've seen the insanity of religious zealots that claim insane actions through the will of God. He was like, but what God seeks is righteousness. And whether or not at the end of the day, you're a good man or you're a bad man. And that's up to you. And that's how I live my life. Because I know at the end of the day, I'm a good man. I know that because I lead with my heart. Everyone knows that I lead with my emotion. Everyone that knows me knows I lead with my heart. Because you want to be a real fucking badass nowadays? Show the world your heart. Show them who the fuck you really are. That's a badass.
It's harder than knocking people out. That's for sure.
That's a badass.
Yeah.
All these tears and these emotions, this is who the fuck I am. I'm PJ Montano, this is who the fuck I am. And you can take it or like it, and frankly, it's not going to lose any sleep for me, whether you like me or not.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing you always will get is 100% realness from me. The reason why I am so intense is because of what I do with cancer. I know tomorrow could be your last day. I know on the way home, it could be someone's last breath, my last breath, your last breath. That's just the way however the world works.
Yeah.
So when I speak and when I teach, I speak like it's the last thing I'm going to say. And I teach like it's the last technique I'm ever going to show. That's, again, the difference between lifestyle and a way of life.
Yeah.
So
that's like, the way you explain that is so cool, because when you first said it, that's why I was like, can you explain the difference? Because I was kind of like, that's the same thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's why if you notice, I'm going through the talk and then I'm like, oh, that's the difference.
Yeah.
You know,
you can bring it back to wherever, whatever we're talking about at the moment. But like, again, it's just the way at the beginning, it was just kind of like, I didn't understand what you meant, and then as you explained it, and then as we keep talking, then it's like, yeah, like I totally see the difference.
Yeah.
To where how somebody can be like that,
Well, see, and the difference that you're going to get from me too is a lot of these younger guys, I want to be a world champ. I want to do this. I want to be. I've already been. I've already done. Fuck do I got to prove to shit for anybody?
Yeah.
The only thing I need to prove to anybody is that my wife is that I love her. And that my kids, that'll always be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only shit I got to prove to anybody. I don't give a fuck what else you think about me. That I'm already successful because of that.
That's 100% real right there.
I'm already successful because of that. I'm a successful man because my children and my wife love me and they know I'm going to be there for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already successful. Everything else is just a plus. And so like when people are like, fuck, that guy's crazy. No, I'm just very intense and I choose my words wisely. Energy is currency. You spend it wisely or else you'll have nothing for yourself. And then that's really where it is. You don't go bankrupt for people who don't give a shit about your energy. You meet the people that match your energy. Like this, like again, it was hard for me to come and even talk because I'm not that person. Like you meet me, hey man,
Yeah.
I'm just that person. I don't waste words. I don't mince. I don't gossip just to fucking gossip. I don't talk about bullshit just to talk about it. Like if it's bullshit, I don't want to talk about it.
Right. I can see that.
Like you want to talk about, oh, look at the trash on the ground. Well, tell me about the stars. What do you think? Oh, what about this? Well, hey, what do you think about, what do you think about the oceans?
Yeah.
What do you think's down there? Tell me about that. Like that's what I want to, I want to talk about deeper shit. I don't want to talk about bullshit. Like, yeah. Oh, did you see that fight? Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I was refing that.
Yeah, I was ref. Yeah, I don't need, yeah. Oh, did you? No, yeah, I saw it. I don't need to see it again. I don't need to hear it again. I don't need to replay it again. Again, because I'm very, I live in the moment and I live for the next moment. I don't dwell on what's already been done or past because, my energy is not in the past. It's not there. It's with me now and moving forward. Like everyone says, oh, yeah, the future's now. The future's now and what we do with our energy and how we manifest it and what we do with, what we do with our life force, because everyone has a choice. Like you said, like I was saying, you have a choice to be good or bad. Mm-hmm. Demon's hand, Buddha heart. Like that's the mentality, right? Like I'm trying to be I can be strong and fierce when I have to be, but I don't need to be all the time.
Right.
And that's also a choice because there's a lot of people walking around like they got shit to prove to people.
Right. Yes.
And that's the problem with the world. And there's a lot of people like that walking around the world. And just know, like I'm one of the ones that just isn't about that kind of lifestyle. I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Like,
I find that kind of common though too amongst like martial artists. Even though yes, there are a lot of people that are in this community that are just want to prove something to somebody or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, especially people that have been in it for a decade plus, they they don't want to deal with that kind of bullshit because it's nothing anymore. It's not. It's just it's pointless in the sense of for nothing.
So I work with my coach. We used to do these like mental judo classes, right? Like we call it mental judo. I try to teach my students that stuff too. It's kind of like everybody's has a reason to. Again, like we were saying, prove something, right? And it's kind of like that theory of like, I go through it with especially my 20-year-old, like my mid-20 kids about like, hey, drinking downtown Fullerton, like that's like by my area. That's like everyone knows DTF, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, like, look, like someone's giving you a hard time. Hey, what are you looking at? Hey, that's a nice shirt. I just like your shirt, man. Like, where'd you get it? Are you looking at my girl? Yeah, is her name Brittany? I went to school with a girl named Brittany. I was curious. Sorry. No, no problems. There's ways to talk yourself out of shit. There's ways to de-escalate situations, detach yourself from it. Just because you train jiu-jitsu and you know how to fight doesn't mean you gotta prove shit to anybody about it. Because the only thing that happens in a fight is someone gets hurt. Someone always gets hurt.
Yeah.
And I got better things to do with my energy than try to hurt someone or hurt myself or get hurt. Because if you do get me to fight, like, I'm going to fuck you up, like, for life. Like, the type of shit where you look in the mirror and go, fuck, I should not have done that shit. Like, that kind of stuff. No, I'm being serious. Like, I've only had to protect myself like 3 times in my life. And those people probably can't use their hands or their fucking feet. Like, I'm not joking about that because that was life situation.
Right.
I got jumped. I've had stuff like that. And thank God I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
Thank God I knew martial arts. Thank God I knew karate and jiu-jitsu and judo. Because I had 2 guys try to jump me and I just beat the shit out of both of them and left.
Yeah, I mean,
I just left them. I'll never forget that. I was fucking 24 years old. I was coming home from the bar and I probably drank way too much. And I was just by myself. Like, it was that perfect scenario of I'm in a different city. I'm gonna walk to my friend's fucking apartment because he went home with his chick. And he said, it's right down the street. I know the streets, but I'm just going to walk. But new town, new area, don't know where the fuck I'm at. Some fucking, kid walking down the street, like, whoa. Literally, a guy fucking come up, pushed me against the gate. And I was like, whoop, fucking, I did like, like muscle memory. Like, it was literally that. Like, 2 guys, I was just walking, came up, pushed me against the gate, face first. Oh, fuck, nope, game over. And just did what I had to do. And I walked away from that. They didn't. I don't know what happened to them or if they woke up or what the fuck. I just did what I needed to do and left because I was 24 years old and fucking ran to my friend's house and said, let's get the fuck out of here. Got in my car and went home. My friend was I was like, drive me home now. I was like, cause I ain't fucking driving. I was like, I'm too shit-faced to do this shit. I was like, you need to get me out of here because I just got to fight. I don't know who the fuck those people are, but get me out of here. Yeah. And we left. Just like that. Just like that. That was like my first street fight. Yeah. And I just remember going home like, fuck. Calling my dad, oh, dude, like, this just happened, like, shaking, like, this just happened on this little T-Mobile 8 phone that was like, the one you had to touch like 1,000 times. Yeah. So I had this little, like, college 8 phone. I'm like, hey, let me talk to you about it, what just happened? So, like, but that's also the duality of martial arts. You learn it so you never have to use it, but if you have to use it, thank God you learned it.
Yeah.
And that's why I always tell people, that kids that join in my school, when I talk to parents, I'm like, look, kid needs to learn how to ride a bike in case he doesn't have a car. He knows how to swim in case he falls in the water. And he knows how to fight in case something happens. Those are 3 things you got to learn how to do. After that, figure out what you want to do with your life. But you have to learn those 3 things as a kid.
Those are 3 good things.
Those are 3 good things. They're 3 basic survival skills. Like, fighting and swimming is a survival skill. Yes. Those are survival skills. And you need to learn that. Like, my children will not be fucking victims. They will not be victims. And they know that they have the right to stand up. They know that they train. That doesn't mean that they can abuse it. That doesn't mean that they can just go out and flash it. Doesn't mean you tell people you know it. Right. Because then you become a target. Yeah. Someone wants to prove something. Someone wants to prove some shit. Oh, he does karate. Let's go. Oh, hey, buddy, I heard you karate.
Exactly.
Show me.
Yeah.
No, please don't make my kids show you. Please, like.
They'll kill you.
No. So and it's not so much that. Like, it's just like I'm trying to teach them that there's other ways than just violence. That's why. Don't mess with my kid because I don't want them to have to do this. I don't want them to know what they can physically do to somebody because when they know it, that there comes a different problem now. Now you know how to do it, and you saw what you're capable of doing, and you know you can handle yourself. So what happens at that time, there comes a little bit more confidence now.
Right.
And if you're not careful with that, you become cocky, not confident.
Yeah,
and when you're cocky, you do stupid shit.
Goes back to what you were saying, the Buddha heart,
demon hand. Yeah. And I learned that from martial arts. The Buddha heart and demon hand. I learned that from karate, learning karate and stuff like that. That's how I learned that analogy.
Right.
It's a Buddhist analogy, because my coach was Buddhist. So like he would talk to us like that. He would talk meditation and tapping into ourselves and how everything's in our mind. Everything starts here first before it comes out, and what we think comes through us, and whatever happens with our hands is something that we've already thought. Like he really, as a kid, I was really grateful for that guy, dude. Looking back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my the depth that I go in, the depth I go into it. I learned that shit when I was a kid.
Right. In
that school, learning it. Master Chang would have us sit there and just tap in, like we're like, and as a kid, just like, well, who the fuck am I tapping into? Who are you? Who are you? Okay, well, let me see. I'm PJ. And I like this, and I want to do, like, it was just like learning how to speak to myself in a positive way as a kid, with nobody else talking to me except for me talking to myself.
That's a great life skill that he taught you.
So that was always why whenever I had that situation, it was like, oh shit, okay, like tap in. Okay, like I still use tap in to this fucking day.
Yeah.
From when I was 7 years old, 6 to like 9, learning from Master Chang about,
awesome.
Karate and shit like that with David Brock and all them. He just brought he brought the meditation aspect to the karate.
Yeah.
And that was, again, how I started my martial path. And then I just went into this because, my grandpa, because we're Native American, my grandpa did judo and boxing from World War II. Taught my dad boxing, judo. My dad learned karate and wrestling on top of boxing and judo, and they taught me boxing, judo, karate, wrestling. I did jiu-jitsu, wrestling, sambo. It just snowballed. Like, so everything about Native American culture with us is that it's the firstborn is always supposed to take care of the family if something goes down. Mm-hmm. And doesn't mean that the secondborn doesn't learn it either, because he learns it, my brother. But I really took it to heart.
Yeah.
I really dove in, and I really took the red path. And that's
you're still on that path.
I'm still on that path. There's no reason for me to stop. And, the red path will be something I follow my entire life because, again, I've been given, God has used grappling as a tool to help shape my character. Mm. So I can now show that character to the world through my actions, my words, and the opportunities I can present to people. Because ultimately, what I'm asking God for is help me to see what I can do for others through you. Use me as your vessel. Mm-hmm. Vessel of violence, vessel of healing, vessel of whatever you need me to be. Help me to be your vessel. And that is my prayer to the jiu-jitsu community. Let me help you however I can. And please, that's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for notoriety. I'm not asking to be a fucking superstar. I'm not asking to be blasted everywhere. But if I can help you, let me help you. That's what I want to do. That's why I'm in the position I'm in with Subversiv. And why I took that hat and decided to wear it, because I knew I could.
Yeah.
And I knew what needed to be done, and I'm doing that now.
Yeah, that goes along with your path as far as, to become the best fucking referee in the world.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So it all makes sense, for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I do what I do, man. And I do a lot, and, but it all goes back to like, I couldn't imagine what my life would be like if my dad never took me to that first karate class.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And that's what, started my path to martial arts was fucking basic karate class, dude.
That's
and
awesome.
now, 30 plus years later, here we are. 34, 35 years later, here we are.
Yeah. Getting, like you're saying, one more show left,
Yep.
but you still got a whole another path of reffing.
Yep.
Again, you're never going to leave these mats, dude.
Nope, I'll never leave them. This is something, like I said, I'm not going to say I'm going to die on the mat, because I'm not going to die on the mat. I'm not going to die on the mat, but like I will do this until I die.
Yeah,
until I die. No, even if I can't, I'll lay on my fucking back and talk. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, you have to realize, like I don't know anything else other than rooms like this, or gymnasiums with, some of the best gymnasiums I've trained on didn't have mats.
Yeah.
And because they couldn't afford them or something like that. Some of those gymnasiums were the best gymnasiums I trained at as a kid. Basic puzzle, thin mats that you just laid down and went after it on. Right. You know what I mean? Not those big, thick, nice ones we have now with Dahlmers and all that other kind of shit. Like, no, I didn't have that. So, to be able to, as I said, to be able to create opportunities, not just for adults, but for that next generation, to give that opportunity that I wish I had, that I would watch movies like Best of the Best when I was a kid, and I'd be like, I want to fucking do that. Why don't they have that for kids? Why don't they have that for kids? Dad, why don't they? Oh, son, we're not a very popular sport. Like, it's not, maybe one day. That was like, and now here, look at it now.
Yeah.
And my dad, that's the coolest thing about my dad, is I love bringing him to these shows, because he gets to see, like,
how far.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember telling me, like, could you imagine if we had something like this? We have it now, Dad. Look at it. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just to be able to do that. Like I said, the passion, the love I have for combat, for jiu-jitsu, for grappling, just the love I have for this stuff. Other than my kids and my wife, there's nothing more than I love. Other than my kids and my life, jiu-jitsu is next.
That's so great.
God,
cool.
My wife, my kids, jiu-jitsu. That is what I love, in that exact order. That's why I'm so, and I'm not like crying like a little bitch, like, oh, I'm sad. No, like this is like, no. Like, it's because I fucking care. I love this fucking sport. I love this art that I've dedicated my fucking life to. Now I have a school and a platform to have an avenue to show that to people. Fuck yeah, let's fucking go, dude. Fuck yeah. And that's what, again, how blessed am I to grow tired in a pursuit of something that I love? Mm-hmm. That is my mentality when I go to teaching now. Ever since I heard that, it rewired my whole fucking life. Because, yeah, I might be fucking tired. I got tired doing everything I fucking love. Like when we walked in, right? Mm-hmm. Man, I'm really fucking tired, man. I got a ref last night until fucking 1 a.m. I got to wake up this morning and fucking teach jiu-jitsu, and I got to come here and talk to you.
About jiu-jitsu.
So what other way am I living?
What a great way to be tired.
What a great way to be tired, chasing something that I love.
Yeah.
Like, then why the fuck am I tired? I'm not. I'm just mentally dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I get the fuck out of my head.
Get some coffee.
You know what I mean? Like,
hey, PJ, dude, I think we're going to have to leave it right there, man.
Good, bro.
I mean, that's a perfect way to end it, I think, dude. Just like how blessed you are.
I'm very blessed.
And just your love and your emotions for the sport. And I mean, dude, I have enjoyed listening to you talk about it, dude, with just how intense and how emotional and how I can just tell how much it affects your life and how it just embodies you as you are combat sports. And
I love it.
I love it, dude.
Yep.
It makes me feel better on the way that I feel about
No, it's not, again, it's not crazy. No, you're not crazy. You're not crazy, because there's people that are just like that.
Yeah.
There are people just like you. And that's the thing, is like, it's, you get what you put into it.
Yeah.
And if you want to be relevant with the changing of the tides and the techniques, then you have to be on the mat doing it. You can't be watching it. Mm-hmm. You have to be in it.
Yeah, be part of it somehow.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. You know, they say smooth seas don't make skilled sailors. You know, so you got to be able to ride those waves regardless of how tough they come.
But I would love to sit and chat with you again
Yeah.
another time.
Anytime, man.
You know, and you know, because we didn't even tap into anything on your ref side really, except for just like what you've been doing a little bit recently.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to like maybe finish PGF next to this season coming. And
Yeah,
then, maybe we could sit down again and chat about it.
Anytime.
But thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you too, man.
And I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Peace, dude.